When it comes to joint training camp practices, they are always extremely highly intense. But I don't think anybody was anticipating how absolutely out of this world intense it was going to be in today's practice against the Lions and the Giants, as a number of scuffles and fights broke out. And we're going to talk about it. So don't you dare go anywhere.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So welcome back, my friends. Welcome back, all my loyal viewers. It's time to talk some more Lions football, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about observations and reports that are coming out of the joint training camp practice between the Lions and the Giants, and oh boy, I'm going to tell you this right now. The reports that I'm hearing, the reports that I'm reading, it was a slugfest almost, because the amount of scuffles, the amount of scrums, the amount of just, these near fights that were breaking out was absolutely just ridiculous. I was looking at Justin Rogers' observations primarily, and according to Justin Rogers, he kind of lost count at how many of these were breaking out on both sides of the field, because there was one practice field where the Lions offense and Giants defense were going back and forth, and then the opposite was true on another practice field. And he said that he kind of caught up to like double digits, and it's just like, dude, you expect that there's going to be some of these kinds of skirmishes, because let's understand something here. It's the first time in freaking 5-6 months that these guys have been able to hit somebody else that's not in the same damn uniform as them. They're obviously going to be amped up. They're going to be excited. They can't wait to lay hands on somebody else. Obviously within the confines of the law, and obviously within the confines of what's the NFL rule book. But it's just like, dude, while you would expect that to a certain degree, the amount of times that this was happening was just absolutely through the roof. And it was just like, dude, it almost seemed like there was more times where people were having to get broken up from potential fights than actual practice time actually being done. And it was kind of like a little bit disturbing. Not necessarily because it was like bad, but it's like, okay, we're losing sight, we're losing focus of what the whole point of these joint practices are. It's to get better, not to go to fisticuffs almost with each other. And how did this whole thing get started? Well, according to Justin Rogers, the very first instance where this happened, I'm going to put the play up that actually happened, was there was a play where the Lions offense and the Giants defense were going at it, and Jared Goff threw this laser throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown, picked up a good chunk of change, and then the play was done. Amon-Ra St. Brown got stopped. He wasn't tackled, but the play was blown dead. It was done. Well, apparently, something was going on between the Giants defender and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the Giants defender didn't like it, and so he decided that after the play was blown dead, he was going to punch the ball out of Amon-Ra St. Brown's hands. And it's just like, why, dude? Why would you do something so immature? Why would you act like a freaking spoiled, rotten brat and look that stupid? And obviously, the Lions players did not take kindly to that, because they're like, dude, you're disrespecting our player. He clearly beat you. He clearly won. You lost. And now you're acting like a freaking spoiled brat. You're acting like an idiot. You're acting like a little kid. So that's where this whole thing kind of got started. And from there, it just kind of got worse and worse. Now, that's in one instance how these scuffles got started, because of just stupid crap like that. Other times it got started because players were rushing to the defense of other players, and not necessarily because, hey, you know what, somebody decided to, get physical with the other person because they didn't like what the other person did. But in this case that I'm about to show you, it was because of somebody getting physical, all right, and that is Maurice Norris. I'm telling you this right now. DC891, when you watch this, you are going to literally flip your lid, and you're going to be like, this is football. This is old school football, because when I saw this play, I instantly was like, that is a hit. And I'm going to show you the play. Apparently in this play, what happened is the freaking running back, Eric Gray for the Giants, he got a dump-off throw over the middle, and this guy, Maurice Norris, he comes up and he just lays the thwap on freaking the running back, pops his helmet off, and he just goes right to the turf. Like, he is laid the hell out. And I'm just like, dude, That is perhaps the most brutal and probably the best football hit I have probably seen in years. Because I'm going to say this right now. I understand. The NFL is all about trying to make sure player safety is heightened. They're wanting to make sure these players are not put in dangerous situations. I get that. But at some point, it's like, dude, we're losing kind of the elements of what makes football football. And when I see plays like this harkens me right back to the early 2000s with guys like John Lynch, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. I mean, dude, the hits, the freaking just sheer physicality. I was just like, dude, this is awesome. This is a great, great football hit. And it instantly got me pumped up. Now, I know for Lions fans and the Lions players, they got pumped up, but for Giants fans and Giants players, they're going to be like, that was dirty, that was rotten. No, that was not dirty, that was not rotten. That is quintessential football. Get your knickers out of a twist and join the rest of us. Now, I will say this. There was something in Justin Rogers' observation report that really kind of stuck out with me. And it was after the practice was done, Rogers went up and he talked to Alex Anzalone, the starting linebacker for the Lions. And he started kind of asking him what was going on. Why were there so many scuffles? Why was so much stuff going on? And what Anzalone specifically said, it really popped my eyebrow up, and it really got my ears like paying attention. And I'm going to read the quote directly from what he said, and you guys tell me what you guys think, because what I heard was very, very interesting. And here's the quote. The quote specifically is this, and you're going to hear it click. It says, "Yeah, man, they were grabbing me and doing all this extra stuff. I'm not letting them do that to me. Some things cross the line, and as a man, you have to say something or you have to do something." Okay, now I'm going to say this right now. In football, you understand that there is a certain level of respect between you and your opponent. It's expected. But from what Alex Anzalone is trying to say there, it almost sounds like the Giants were trying to be dirty. It almost sounds like they were trying to do something. They were trying to instigate these scuffles in these fights by not playing within the rules, by grabbing players, by doing things that were not legal. And it sounds like the Lions players were not having it, specifically Alex Anzalone. And it's like, okay, when you start doing stuff like that as a man and you know that you're being disrespected, you're not going to stand for it. And that's why I think some of these scuffles were happening, is because the Lions players were like, dude, you're not going to get away with playing and doing all these cheap shots and doing this dirty crap on the side. We're going to let you know it's not okay, and we're going to make sure that you knock it off, or else we're going to knock you out. Now, I will say this. While to a certain extent, you don't want that, and you definitely don't want it if you're a player that's kind of like on the fringe roster element, because Dan Campbell talked about this prior to the practice. He was like, listen, we don't want these guys fighting each other. We don't want this. He gave a specific warning. He's like, listen, we're going to evaluate everything as if it's in a game setting. And if you're out there getting into fights, getting into scuffles that are going to cost us yards and penalties, that's going to go into your evaluation. And that might just be a reason why we let you go. So it's like, okay here, you definitely don't want that to happen. But at the same time, I definitely understand where Alex Anzalone's coming from. It's like, listen, there is a certain level of respect to not only your opponent, but also the game of football. And it sounds like the Giants were not respecting the Lions, and the Lions were not standing for it. And they made sure to let them know about it. And obviously, they stood their ground. And I'm very proud of our Lions for doing that, because I'm not going to let the Giants, the crap Giants, decide to say, oh, well, because we feel a certain kind of way, we're going to be whatever towards you. That's not going to happen. You need to earn your spot, Giants, and you haven't earned your spot in a long time. Now, outside of all that nonsense, there's a couple of other observations from the training camp that we're going to talk about here really quickly. The first thing we're going to talk about is some very big injuries that happened. We don't know the full extent of the injuries. We don't know how severe they are. But Kevin Zeitler, the guy we picked up in the offseason in free agency from the Ravens, he specifically left practice early with something to do with his shoulder. So that was a big problem. The next guy that left practice was Terrion Arnold. He left practice after getting absolutely land-blasted by one of the offensive tackles of the Giants, and he left the practice with a freaking concussion problem. So for me, that was something that was really kind of crucial, because it's like, okay, you've got these guys that are really crucial to us that we are now having to say, hey, these guys guys are no longer in practice. So now I'm very curious to see how these guys are doing and how, if they're going to be able to make the next training camp practice tomorrow. So very, very interesting to see what goes on there, and I hope for the best of them. Also, another observation is, I'm going to say this. According to Justin Rogers, the Giants' offensive line actually did a pretty decent job against our defensive line. However, though, one guy that really stood out, that really made waves, that really was unblockable, was Aleem McNeil. According to Justin Rogers, he was on another level. He was virtually unblockable, and he was a terror. And it seems like right now, Aleem McNeil is in a zone. He is just on a whole different level that nobody's touching. And for me, that is something that really excites me because, again, you have Levi Onwuzurike that's seeming to find his place. We still haven't seen what DJ Reader's going to do, but we know how good he is. Still have Aiden Hutchinson. It's like, dude, we've got talent on this defensive line, and it's just getting better by the day. So, again, that was pretty interesting news right there. Now, I'm going to say this. One area that I talked about in a previous episode earlier today that I really wanted to see how our team was going to do was how our cornerbacks were going to do against the Giants' passing game. And apparently at the start of the practice, the Giants' passing offense actually did pretty good against our defensive backfield. However, though, according to Justin Rogers, by the time we got towards the end of the day and by everything getting mixed out, it was kind of like a 50-50 win rate. For every one that we won, they would win one. And it was kind of back and forth. So it's like, okay, the Lions' defensive secondary kind of had to find their feet, had to figure out how to play against the Giants, but once they did, it was kind of like, okay, you guys win one, we're going to win one. It wasn't like we were getting bulldozed by the Giants. And it's like, okay, we're dealing with a whole different type of weaponry. Obviously, the Giants are doing a whole bunch of different stuff with all these pre-snap motions and everything. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure it out. So, I understand that there are some Lions fans that are concerned about this, but don't be. It's practice, it's training camp, they're trying to get their feet wet, they're trying to figure themselves out. Let's not make a mountain out of a molehill here. And to end everything, we're going to take a look at this last training camp highlight. And dude, I'm telling you this right now. The entire offseason, the entire training camp period, I have been absolutely ecstatic, excited, absolutely hyped up about the Jared Goff, Jameson Williams connection. And boy, in the red zone segment at the end of practice, the Giants and the Lions had one chance to take care of this. The Giants, it took them several plays to get to whatever they were going to do. And I think at the end, they were actually turned away. But the Lions, it took them one play to find the red zone. And take a look at this play. This is absolutely a work of art right here. This is showing just how wonderful the connection between J-Mo and Goff is. And I'm telling you this right now, these guys are going to be a terror in the NFL. Just watch this play. What you're going to see is Jared Goff is under center. He's going to snap the ball. It's a straight 5-step drop back. He's going to step up into the pocket, and he is going to throw a laser 20-yard throw over the middle into the back of the end zone, and look at Jameson Williams. He is wide the hell open. Dude, there's no one around him for like 10, 15 yards. Easy. He is just wide-ass open. There's nobody covering him. And then to make everything better, watch the feet control, watch the body control. Jameson Williams comes down and he gets both feet down as if it's effortless. Take a look at that play and you are seeing how Jameson Williams and Jared Goff, they are on a great page right now. And those two, along with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and everybody else, oh boy, I'm telling you this right now, folks. I cannot wait till we actually get to see the full first-team offense actually go out on the field and fully let loose. I cannot wait for them to unleash what they have got waiting for the NFL because I'm telling you this right now, we are going to see some damn fireworks, and it is going to be pretty as hell. But anyway, folks, just wanted to make this really quick episode about what was being talked about by the joint training camp practice. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff to cover, and I'm looking forward to doing more of this stuff, obviously, tomorrow. But until that time, I'm going to end the episode, say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all, please, to do this. Make sure you subscribe. It really helps me out. Also encourage y'all to like and comment as well. I also highly encourage y'all that if you subscribe to the channel, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to highly encourage y'all to share the content. The more we can share it, the greater the channel grows, the greater the channel has a reach, and and the greater we're able to get people to come in, watch the content, and have great conversation. And with that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed the content. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.